When I was at Katsucon 2020 in the mythical days before the COVID-19 pandemic really set in, I took one last trip through the dealer's hall on Sunday afternoon just before closing. I wanted to check out a series that was brand new to me and could spark my imagination, something that hadn't even been made into an anime yet, and had just dropped off the presses of manga and light novel publishers. My search brought me to a random manga booth where I picked up a new light novel that looked both cheesy and dumb. And what I got was both more and less than I expected. Welcome everyone to Anime Bookmark. Hi, I'm Henshin for Pi, part-time cosplayer and full-time nerd. To start off, I'd like to say that my knowledge of Arthurian mythology is pretty lacking. I haven't read The Once and Future King by T.H. White, I haven't watched Merlin yet despite its place in my Netflix queue, and I have barely touched the many adaptations of King Arthur that have come out over the years. Honestly, the most I know of King Arthur comes from cultural osmosis and a King Arthur-themed fair I went to in 2004. With that said, I may miss some Arthurian references in the book that I'm about to talk about today. With that said, let's take a look at Last Round Arthur's Scum Arthur and Heretic Merlin. Created by Taro Hitsuji, author of Akashic Records of Bastard Magic Instructor, Last Round Arthurs tells the story of Rintaro Megami, a cynical and narcissistic young man who gets involved in a battle royale to become King Arthur's successor and save the world from the coming apocalypse. To do this, he teams up with Luna Arter, the so-called weakest candidate in this battle, who has just sold off the magic sword Excalibur for money. Right off the bat, we run into this book's first problem, its tendency toward purple prose. Every dramatic moment is so awesome that the world itself stops to witness, and Taro Hitsuji is also rather enamored of his female characters. Here's how we are introduced to Luna. She looked 15, maybe 16, a polished young girl of mixed Japanese and English descent, wearing the uniform of a neighboring school. Bathed in the white moonlight, her blonde hair gave off a faint glow. Gleaming like gold and drawing her out of the shadows, it framed her face like a halo. Her dignified eyes were large with shining iolite irises, almost feline in nature. Sheer will and determination beamed out of them, flashing like blue flames and piercing through the darkness. They seemed to bore into the soul of those who stood before her. Her skin was whiter than snow, her face deeply chiseled and defined with a delicate little chin. Though her curves were elegant and feminine, her limbs carried a youthful vigor. It was as if her features were pulled together by divine will, inspired by a sculpture of a goddess carved from the finest marble in the world. She might have been hidden under the veil of night, but her presence and mystique couldn't be concealed. It didn't matter if someone had seen her 1,000,000 times before, she'd still be breathtakingly captivating with each and every look. Wow, you really think she's beautiful, don't you, Taro? And yet you never talk about Rintaro in the same way. I wonder why. Another problem with this book is that nothing in it felt real to me. Last Round Arthurs is literally like reading an anime. Everyone acts over the top, and there is so much all-caps yelling in this book that it makes me wonder why the characters haven't lost their voices by the end of the day. There's a scene early on where some students at Luna's school fight a brawl against members of the student council over an idol show being performed on the school's front lawn. While reading this, all I could picture was a cloud of dust with limbs sticking out of it while Rintaro looks on with a sweat drop on the back of his head. It's that anime-like. And I should also mention the magic system involved in this battle royale. Contestants are chosen by the Dame de Lac run by Morgan Le Fay to compete, and are each able to summon a Knight of the Round Table, or Jack, to help them. Luna has Sir Kay, who is the weakest of all the Jacks, and who Luna has hired out to do various odd jobs to earn money, many of which involve wearing skimpy cosplay. Surprisingly, these Jacks are summoned via the Ten Sephiroth, or Aspects of God, aka that thing you see in the opening for Neon Genesis Evangelion. The author seems not to know what these aspects actually mean, and honestly, I don't know either. In order to win, the candidates must collect 4 yin iron shards, Granter's stones, treasures, in order to become the last round Arthur. As for Rintro, he sees this battle as a form of entertainment, as he can complete any task or win any fight without breaking a sweat. Unfortunately, Rintro absolutely hates this power, as it has brought him nothing but pain and robbed him of any sense of accomplishment. By acing everything he does without any effort, Rintro is seen as an inhuman freak by those around him, and as a result of this, he's disdainful of everyone, cynical, and bored out of his mind. Rintro only joined the King Arthur succession battle, as it's called in the first place, in order to find something that maybe possibly would be a challenge to him. Luna, meanwhile, has her own reasons for joining the competition, and she recruits Rintro as her vassal early on, although he only agrees to help to add some more challenge to the competition. Luna is selfish, terrible with money, and often barges her way into situations without thinking them through at all, putting herself and others in danger in the process. She and Rintro bicker constantly as their gigantic egos clash, but it's their relationship that I think is the strongest and best part of the book. Luna treats Rintro like a person and trusts him completely, something he hasn't experienced before. This leads him to trust and help her in turn, cementing their partnership in the King Arthur succession battle. Even though these characters are not the heroic figures you'd expect from a story based on Arthurian legends, they are written well enough that I still was interested in their progress and wanted to see them succeed. So with all that, I'd give Last Round Arthurs a score of dumb fun. I found the plot cliché and the writing cheesy, but the characters all had well-defined motivations, and I wanted to know what would happen next. Give this book a read if you like silly anime tropes and power fantasy battle scenes. Avoid it if you hate overpowered characters, lots of yelling, and Arthurian tropes used in unorthodox ways. Volumes 2 and 3 of the light novel are out now from Yen Press, as well as Volume 1 of the manga for those who want an illustrated version of the story, and Volume 2 should be coming shortly. And that's all she wrote from Anime Bookmark. I'll be creating more videos in this series soon, so stay tuned for those. Also, I want to know what you thought about this episode. You can follow me on Twitter at henshinforpie, and feel free to leave a note down in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.